I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Just kidding, it's not Groot, it's me, Ninja Chris, and welcome to my review of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, I just got done seeing it a few hours ago, wanted to get my thoughts put together, and I have to say, it was absolutely hilarious. Now, I'm going to go and do a review. I'm going to try to keep it spoiler-free during the first part, and then at the second part, I'll throw a few spoilers, so if you don't want to watch that part, I'll let you know. I'll actually have a symbol that will appear. I'll do kind of like Boogie does, have it on one side, and then take it to the other side when it comes to spoilers. So, like I said, spoiler-free area. Watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 a couple hours ago. Absolutely hilarious. I think the jokes were absolutely just as good as the first one, if not a little better. The songs, maybe not quite as good, but still very good. The all-around plot, they still haven't quite... There might have been one little thing there that might have connected it to the rest of the Marvel Universe. So I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to get pulled in for the Infinity Wars. But I'll talk more into that in the spoiler section. I mean, it's not a big spoiler, but it can be considered a spoiler. Other than that, Adolescent Groot, I think is what we're calling him, because he's no longer Baby Groot. He's actually moving around, so Adolescent Groot was adorable, was cute, absolutely hilarious. Yondu looked like a badass in it. Star-Lord was good. The relationship between Star-Lord and Gamora, I liked the back and forth they had. Again, I'm not wanting to give away any spoilers. Definitely, they went a little bit further than they did in the first one. Like they expanded on it. They also expanded quite a bit on the relationship between Gamora and her sister Nebula. Also, let's see, I'm trying to think. Then there's also the relationship between Yondu and Star-Lord. They expanded on that a little bit more and actually talked a bit more about why they didn't turn him over to his father. Like they hinted at in the first one. I mean, all around, I really liked what they did, how they expanded it. I want to go into more, but I really don't want to give into details just yet. I'm going to wait till the spoiler part of the show. Definitely a family show. Few cuss words here and there. I actually went to see it with my roommate's kids and also my roommate. And the kids absolutely were laughing their ass off the entire time. Sorry about the language. I'm trying to keep it PG. They're laughing through the entire thing. Excuse me. I got a cough that just doesn't want to see me go away. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's about all I can really say without giving away any spoilers. So I'm going to go and start the spoiler section. So you're being warned, this is the spoiler section. If you don't want to hear any spoilers, shut off the video now. I'm not going to give major spoilers away, but I'm going to give some spoilers away. To start off with, the opening credits, where they go through all the actors' names, what's going on there, was priceless. You have all the guys fighting this big old alien dude in the back. I'm sure you've seen it from the trailer, the big gelatinous dude. They're fighting it to protect some batteries that this Gold People clan, I cannot remember the name of the clan, or of the planet and the people, but they're all gold. They're they genetically engineer themselves to be perfect. So they hired them on to protect the batteries and fight off this monster. Well, all this is going on. Baby Groot starts the music and is dancing, and all you see in the background is the guys getting their butts kicked by this monster. He's running around. He's just dancing around. There's one part where there's a light coming through the vent. He just stands on there and starts dancing. Absolutely adorable. Absolutely cute. All the while, everybody's getting their butts kicked. I mean, you'll see him get thrown in the background behind him. There's a couple times where they actually stop and, protect Baby Groot or adolescent Groot. And then they go back to fighting. And then at the very end, Drax gets thrown into the radio and destroys it. Destroys the radio. And adolescent Groot just gets mad and starts whipping him with his vines as he gets up and starts fighting the monsters again. The monster again. Oh my god. From that scene on, I knew it was going to be good. So they go, they protect the monster. They defeat the monster. I'm sure you've seen it in the trailer. Drax saying, his skin is too tough, so I have to fight it from the inside. It jumps in the monster's mouth with his knives. And when they finally kill him, he breaks out. He goes, yes, I defeated the monster all by myself. Oh my god. So that's just like the opening thing, so you get to see it. And you find out that their price for all this was the gold people had Nebula, and there was a bounty on Nebula's head. So they were getting Nebula as a price so they could go turn it in for the bounty. Excuse me. So, they go and they do all that thing, and they talk about how they are very... You have to watch what you say to them, or else you'd piss them off and they'd come after you. As they're walking out, Rocket reveals something to Drax. I don't want to give that part away. They start laughing, and they leave. That goes to start up a major fight and actually shows some actual technology that I think, if it was real, it could help our military now save lives. Because they have their spaceships, but they aren't actually in the spaceship. They're like in an arcade room where they're all in like a thing, fighting. It's like, and they actually, I think it shows like a high score thing that as they're fighting, which that part isn't needed for the military. But so when the ships get destroyed, it's game over for them, but they don't actually lose any people. Pretty smart. So there's a big space battle and all that, and then that's when you get introduced to Star-Lord's dad. The whole relationship between Star-Lord and his dad, it looks like it's all up and up, but there's just something that doesn't quite seem right that I'm going to leave because I don't want to give any spoilers away on that. So they go and they run into Star-Lord's dad. He takes some of them back to his planet, and where he starts trying to make up for lost time with Star-Lord. So that goes back and forth. While you're there, you get to see Star-Lord and Gamora kind of go back and forth on whether things. They actually dance at one point. You also get introduced to a new character, Mantis, which adds some comedy to it. She has the ability to read people's feelings. And at one point she touches Star-Lord's arms, which I think this is in a commercial too, so it's not really a spoiler, and spews out that Star-Lord has adult feelings for Gamora, and which embarrasses Star-Lord immensely. So, I mean, without, that's not too big of a spoiler there. And then it goes on, progresses. Nebula, who escaped during the fight, you find out a little bit more about her backstory, why she hates Gamora so much. And she comes in and actually attacks Gamora. There's a little a one-sided fight, you would think, because she's actually in a spaceship. Gamora's on her, running on the ground, running for her life. Runs into the cave, and the spaceship actually goes in and gets stuck. And Sills keep going forward as it's breaking apart. And all because of her anger towards Gamora. And then she gets stuck, and you see the strength of Gamora, because she literally took one of the giant guns off the ship, heaved it on her shoulder, and started firing it at the broken ship. Again, sorry. So you're seeing this, and then after all that's done, you start understanding more about their relationship, why they're butting heads, and they start to work things out, which was nice. So you got all this going on, and then you got Rocket is separated from the rest of the group, the same areas with Nebula. Rocket and Groot are separated with Nebula, and Yondu comes along and captures them. This is when you start finding out more about Yondu, and his started hinting a little bit at the relationship between him and Star-Lord before the first movie. So you get to see a little bit of his background. Something happens where his mohawk goes from this big to later on being a gigantic mohawk that looks badass. When he does that, he seems a little bit stronger, which is cool. So you got that. You start understanding their background. So that starts going. So it starts kind of, everybody's kind of weaving their way to the final showdown. They actually get captured by a group. Well, Yondu's group. Then there's something happens. I don't want to give too many spoilers away. And Groot gets kind of turned into a mascot for this group. So they put their uniform on him, and they make him dance, and they pour alcohol on him. He doesn't like that. So they finally get escape. And as they're escaping, there's one guy that was picking on adolescent Groot the most. And adolescent Groot sees him running down the path, and that's when you see adolescent from the trailer running down after him, shoots the vines that grabs his legs, and throws him off the bridge. Absolutely hilarious. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm still laughing at it because I'm picturing it all in my head. So I like the way they did all this. They kind of separated people into doing their own little stories, got people expanding on it. And you're like, okay, so they've expanded on Groot. They've expanded on Gamora. They've expanded on Star-Lord. What about Rocket? What about Drax? Well, Rocket they kind of did in a weird way. They kind of showed more of his feelings, and he actually had a little bit of expanding through his backstory. We learned a little bit more about him when he compares himself with Yondu. So they do kind of expand on him. Now Drax and Mantis had a weird thing. You weren't really sure. Did he like her? Did he not like her? Was he just being nice? Was there more to it? So that's when you kind of expand. You hear a little bit more of Drax's backstory. The interaction between Mantis and Drax, it led to some really funny moments. Like one point, he says, people like you, or they like you if they call you ugly and they still are there to be nice to you. Or if you're ugly, they still are nice to you. And he's like, you're ugly, but we're still nice to you, so you know you're good. We like you, or something along those lines. So it's kind of weird the way they talk back and forth. They're still, very interesting. Ah, so I mean, you kind of had that. Drax actually saves Mantis later on at the end of the movie, and it still has that chemistry back and forth. So they don't really go back and forth. They make you think he doesn't like her, but there's clues that maybe he does. So it's kind of weird. Like I said, I'm not trying to give away too many spoilers. There's the part where adolescent Groot. I mean, you've seen it in the commercials. Okay, you need to hit this switch, and then this to set it up, and then we run out. You have like 5 minutes to do it. So repeat after me. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. No. That's the death switch. Now, which one do we hit? And he keeps pointing out the death switch, the death switch, the death switch. I'm sure you guys remember that in the commercial. That part was even better on the big screen, and then at the very end, when he has to place the bomb up there, he gets close to hitting it, and you realize, oh, he hits the right one. Oh my god. So, after all of that, they expand on it, like I said. You have Kurt Russell as Star-Lord's dad. You find out a little bit more about his background. Like I said, I do not want to give anything away there, because those are major plot details, and I don't want to spoil that for you. Excuse me again. Now, what surprised me was Sylvester Stallone was in this. Yeah, at the beginning of the credits it said, and Sylvester Stallone, or guest appearance by Sylvester Stallone or something along those lines. And you find out that he is actually one of the Ravagers' higher ups, one of the people that Yondu looked up to. And there was a little disagreement going on there, but at the end something happened and everything was made right. Again, not having any spoilers given with that. So all in all, great family movie. Oh, one more thing. Credits. During the credits, there's not one scene, not two scenes, but I think there was like 5 different scenes that they had throughout the credits, including at the very end. Oh, yeah, that reminds me of one other thing. Stanley'S Cameo in this. He's on a planet, and he's talking about his other cameos. Well, you hear briefly. So he's talking about his other cameos, which kind of goes towards the theory that he's a watcher, I think is what they're called in Marvel. Where he's there watching all the major events. He watches, but he doesn't interact. So it kind of plays on the fact that maybe that's what Stan Lee really is. Very cool. So yeah, during the credits there are 5 scenes, including the final one that has Stan Lee in it again. It reveals a little bit of what's going to happen in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or maybe Infinity War. Because I don't remember which happens next, but somehow they have to get pulled in. Oh yeah, I said I was going to talk about that. I'm sorry. During the final boss, during the final fight, the bad guy had stuff that he planted on all the planets because he's trying to take over. One of which was in Missouri. And he activated it, and this gelatinous ooze started expanding. Kind of like taking over everything. So I'm thinking maybe that's how they're going to be found out about, because everything else was out in space. Because this happened in Missouri, maybe the Avengers are going to start going, hey, what caused that? Look into it, and that's just going to lead them to Guardians. I'm not sure if that's how it's going to be or what. But that's what it's kind of looking like. But I have actually rambled on longer than I thought for this review, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you like what you saw, go ahead and give this a like. If you have any questions for me or want to say anything about it in the comments down below, go ahead and leave it in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. And always, as always, I am silent but always deadly, and I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.